Hey Randy, so I've been thinking a little bit about Lego user groups or lugs and whether or not I should join one. And honestly, I don't really know that much about them, so I thought maybe I'd talk to an expert. So I'd like to introduce you to the chair of the Brick Alley Lego user group, Richard Carter. Hey Richard, thanks for joining.
Yep. Hi,
So
Clayburn. Thanks for inviting me.
first off, I want to apologize in advance because I am American, so I tend to say Legos, and I know that's a touchy subject for people in the UK. So nothing personal if I do
We'll
do say
ignore that.
Legos. Yeah, right off the bat, I guess maybe you could just tell me a little bit about Brick Alley Lego user group and sort of what is a Lego user group for those that aren't familiar with it.
Yeah, okay. So a Lego user group is a sort of a group of Lego fans. They tend to be for adult Lego fans, so they're user groups for people who are maybe not, at least traditionally, the target market of Lego.
Yeah.
For example, in our Lego user group, we allow T4 members, so teenage fan of Lego members,
Hmm.
from 13 years plus, as long as they're supervised. So I think that the function varies from country to country or region to region. We're a regional Lego user group, so we cover the northeast of England as our region.
Yeah.
And Brick Alley has about 60 members these days. We run some Lego shows, some Lego events in the region as well, which I think we'll talk about later.
Yeah. So since
And
I'm not too familiar, obviously, with England and what that's like, when you say a region, then do you have many cities or large cities within this region, and do they have their own Lego user groups, or is it a pretty
there's
vast, more rural area?
we've got a mixture of both. So Northumberland is right up against the Scottish border, and that is quite rural.
Yeah.
Um, we also cover Newcastle, which is a reasonably large urban area with other cities and towns sort of joined up into it.
Hmm.
And we've got a couple of other smaller cities in the region as well.
How Lego in particular and Lego user groups, is there any kind of basic plan that you got to follow? Any kind of like certain guidelines? Do they check in on things or want
Um,
certain things, or is it pretty hands off?
it depends. So there are two types of Lego user groups. You can just start one and invite some friends along and call yourself a Lego user group.
Yeah.
Um, that's fine, as long as you follow some of the guidelines with the Lego trademark.
Yeah.
That's fine. So you could just
Like
meet
not
and be
saying
quiet.
Legos.
Yeah, that sort of thing. The other type is what's known as a recognized Lego user group, or an
Okay.
RLUG,
Hmm.
and they're the ones which have a relationship with Lego themselves.
Yeah.
So our Lego user group, we have a committee who help organize and run the group. So we have myself, a chair, who oversees the general running of the group. We have a secretary who deals with membership and things like that. We have a treasurer who deals with the money
Yeah.
from shows and from membership fees. We have an events coordinator who organizes our larger shows. And then we have an ambassador, and the ambassador is an ambassador to Lego. And he has access to what's called the LAN,
Yeah.
which is essentially a forum for other Lego ambassadors from around the world, so we can ask Lego questions directly and get some feedback, and also some feedback from the community
Hmm.
of Lego user groups around the world.
Yeah.
So some benefits of that are, for members, we have a more direct say with Lego, and Lego do ask us for feedback on things, so it's quite a nice way to feedback into the community. And I'd like to think that the recent release of the Crocodile Train as an adult set was maybe based around some feedback that the Lego user groups have provided to Lego. The other benefits of being a recognized Lego user group is access to some additional support from Lego, including the LUG bulk scheme, which you may have heard of. So LUG bulk is a chance to purchase, for Lego user groups, it's a chance to purchase Lego bricks and elements in bulk
Yeah.
every year. And that's probably about all I can say about that, because unless you're a member and participating in the scheme, we can't discuss prices. But it is,
Yeah.
it's
Are you
really
able
handy.
to say, or could you say sort of about like how many pieces you purchase through this per year?
I'm not. I possibly can, but I actually don't. I don't
Okay.
know. I didn't process the order, but it is.
Yeah.
It is a lot. And if you
Okay. Yeah.
see, if you go to
They
Lego,
do have minimums or something, right? Do they, for this, if you were
yes,
to
yeah.
join
There's
it,
minimum
they expect you to,
quantities and minimum charges as well,
yeah.
that you have to meet.
Okay.
But with
And
a
what do you guys
membership,
typically do? Like you mentioned the events, so buying these in bulk, is it so you can build models to decorate for these events, or to have available for people to, you know, play with or put together, or what are you primarily using the bulk orders of bricks for?
it's up to the individual members, so you can't resell it,
Yeah.
but you can, and I wouldn't want to anyway. I'm one of these people who rarely sells Lego. I just hoard it.
Yeah.
But you can, quite a lot of our members will build larger models with them, because they're able to get their hands on parts which maybe are a bit expensive on Bricklink, or maybe aren't even
Yeah.
available in that quantity and that color on Bricklink or Brick Owl.
Seems like a huge perk. I mean, obviously Legos are pretty expensive. So
Yeah.
people who certainly want to build large models, or, you know, whatever reason, have a lot of pieces. Like most of my Legos probably come from actual sets. I do like those, I don't know what they, creator boxes or something, where they just basically a mix of kind of more or less random pieces. That's always nice to have those on hand. But when I do go down and decide, like, I want to build something, I realize, like, I don't really have a lot of spare parts. I have pieces that are, you know, part of an existing set, and I'm thinking, well, should I take apart this castle? Do I need to take apart my Jurassic Park gate and use some of these pieces? So I have a few sets, you know, that I pulled individual pieces from. But I try to do the, you know, pick a brick wall every now and then if something interesting is on it. So, and then of course Bricklink. So Bricklink is, yeah, my go-to for extra pieces. But yeah, if I was apparently if I was in a lug, or an R lug, I guess, that would be the ticket.
That it's one way, if you're very patient, because it can take a while to turn up. So we all still buy stuff off Bricklink, maybe just slightly less.
Yeah, and so you had mentioned some events that, like, maybe that, you know, Lego invites you to. Could you talk a little bit about what sort of events those are? Maybe what some of the recent ones were?
Some of them are sort of product launches, like I mentioned. So when the Lego Dots range launched, we had some invites to go along to the launch in London for that. And product launches at London Toy Fair as well was an invite which I was lucky enough to go along to. So there are some nice perks, and Lego are definitely recognizing that it's nice to have ties with the A4 community.
Yeah, it seems like they've been doing a pretty good job of that for the last maybe 10 to 20 years. They really shifted focus, and where I think maybe early on it seemed like they were sort of, you know, strictly focused on kids, and thinking, you know, why would adults be playing with our toy? Why would we need to market to them or care about them? And now they've shifted, and you see a lot of, you know, all these sets that are really just aimed for adults. You know, I'm sure there are some kids putting together an $800 Millennium Falcon, but you know, probably mostly adults.
Yeah.
So in terms of activity, I guess you talked about members. Do you have people who are non-members that are still can be involved in certain things, or do you really have to be a member, and I guess a paying member, to participate?
Pretty much everything. So for the events we run, we invite other AFOLs, adult Lego fans, and other members of Lego user groups. There's actually quite a few Lego user groups in the UK, despite being a relatively small country.
Yeah.
So we will invite other people to display. But in terms of accessing the benefits, you need to be a member. No, there are no restrictions from a Lego user group from Lego's side on whether that has to be a paying member, or whether you could have free membership. One of the other Lego user groups in the UK does have free membership.
And then in terms of activity, then if someone does, you know, become a paying member, I guess you can speak. I'm sure it varies by group across the world. But in terms of yours, how active are the members? Going to meetings, going to the events, and is it a problem if like they don't have a lot of time to devote to this? If they want to just show up for the big things once a year, or is it really about staying active and being part of the group? Is that a requirement?
I think for us as a group, we try to be quite inclusive. So some of the groups I'm aware of in Europe have a points-based system. So if you go to a meetup, or you exhibit at a show, or you volunteer at a show, you get points, and then based on how many points you've got over the year, you might receive some benefit in terms of a set or whatever it happens to be from that Lego user group.
Yeah, so some kind of reward for your involvement.
Yeah. I don't think that's too uncommon, but we don't enforce anything like that. So every member, whether we see them once a year, or whether they turn up to our monthly meetings and they go to a show, they tend to get pretty much the same. I mean, volunteers and people who exhibit at shows with us and people who volunteer at shows, we tend to do a little kind of goodie bag of a Lego set and an event t-shirt and an event brick as a bit of a thank you.
Just in terms of yourself, how did you get involved in running a Lego user group? Obviously, you're probably a fan of Lego. So maybe when did that start, and when did that transition into running a Lego user group?
I'm an AFOL who hasn't really had a dark ages, so I've never really not had Lego and not enjoyed Lego. Although while I was at university, I probably bought less Lego and missed out on all of the expensive sets like Emerald Knight and things like that. But,
I remember that when I was in college. It was nice. It was kind of a catch-22 because I'm out on my own. I have my own money. I'm an adult now. I can buy my own Lego sets. But then I'm in college and I'm in this little dorm and I don't have anywhere to put them. And then I'm going to move every semester.
Yeah.
So it was a tough period.
So there were probably one or two Lego user groups in the UK when I sort of initially started, and I joined one. But a lot of the membership was focused further south in England, around London. And there were 2 or 3 members in my area who I sort of vaguely talked to online a little bit. And then I started a local cathedral we have, Durham Cathedral, started a fundraising project to build a Lego model of the cathedral. And the idea was that it was quite a large model, about 300 bricks. And the idea was that people would come in, donate £1, get to put a brick on the model for £1, and they needed volunteers for that. So I signed up for that, and it ended up taking about 3 years, and I volunteered most weeks for that. It was really good fun. I met loads of Lego fans in the local area, and I think that's what always surprises me. There are Lego fans everywhere. Some of them don't want to join a Lego user group. Some of them just haven't learned that we exist. And I suppose part of my job as chair is trying to find those Lego fans who want to be part of the community and getting them to join. So that went on for about 3 years, and partway through that, somebody had spotted an advertisement in a local newspaper, which is quite old-fashioned, about a Lego group starting in Darlington, which is about half an hour south of where I live by train. So we went along to that for a bit, and eventually we ended up, we did a couple of displays at a railway museum, which is, they was kind of part of a model railway display or part of other activities. And eventually the museum said, well, why don't you just do a weekend of Lego for us and bring some displays along and some activities? And that's how our main show, Shield and Brick Show, came into being. So Shield and Brick Show is, we hold that at Locomotion Museum in County Durham, which is, the museum itself is or was part of the National Railway Museum and is now part of the Science Museum Group. So it's quite a large venue. although we're finding we're actually reaching the limit of space in there because there's lots of trains in the way where we want to put Lego displays.
Yeah, you can't
For some
convince them
reason,
to get rid of the
the
trains.
train museum won't move.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we keep asking and saying no, and they don't want to put them outside. And so we ran that the first year, which was 2015. So this year would be our 5th anniversary for the show, and we were expecting maybe 500 people, and we got I can't remember how many we got, but something stupid like 8,000 people turned up, and it was maybe a little bit too many because the museum and us as a Lego user group thought this will be a fairly quiet weekend. It will, we'll manage. And there were queues to get in, and the museum didn't have enough venue and security staff to deal with the queues, and the car park was overflowing. But it was a good show in that, once people were in, they had a good time. We had a big mosaic building with fairy bricks. We had lots of little activities for kids to do, and displays around the museum. So the second year we planned a little bit more. The venue had more security. We learned a lot of lessons from the first year, and we get between about 5,000 and sort of 9,000 across a weekend, which in terms of UK shows it's pretty large. It's probably sort of top 5 or top 3 shows by size.
What's the like you said, you have events for kids, you have these mosaics, you have a lot of sets. Do you have any, like, maybe one big draw about it, or is it really just a lot of different things going on?
We try and put a lot of different things on. So we look at displays, have a variety of displays. So city themed, some Lego trains, which is my passion. Ninjago, Disney Friends, Star Wars. So we try and get a bit of variety and make sure that we try not to repeat content every year. We're a bit of a drive away from some of the other Lego user groups, so getting visitors to come to us and exhibit for the weekend can be a bit of a bit remote maybe. But in terms of activities, we'll do things like brick pits. So we'll hire big foam-sided play pits full of Lego bricks that the kids can just build in. We do some speed building. So we have sets and challenge people to build as quickly as they can. And we have a leaderboard for that with some prizes. One of our more popular activities is the Minifigure Hunt. So this is part of how we fundraise for the Lego user group. We charge £1 per sheet, which has 9 minifigures on it. And the idea is that the kids, or the adults can do it as well, look around all of the displays, and we've hidden certain minifigures holding a letter. So the kids have to find the letter, rearrange the 9 letters we usually give them to find into a word, and then they can enter a prize draw and win some Lego sets. So that works really well, and I think it's quite easy to look around an exhibition like that and not pay a huge amount of attention. So that gets the kids actually looking really hard at the models, and then they see more details that the modelers have included. And our other show is Discovery Brick Show, which is in Newcastle on Tyne. That's also held in a museum, a science museum. So we tend to do a science-based activity. We've done balloon cars quite a few times. So make a very basic Lego car propelled by a balloon. And that works really well. It's quite a simple activity, but it gets the kids interested in some of the science behind it. And we have some of our members will volunteer and take it in turns to explain to the kids how that works, and get them experimenting a little bit as well.
So if people want to find out more info about the user group or these events, where can they find that?
We're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as Brick Alley LUG, LUG. We also have a website, so if you just Google Brick Alley Lego user group, I would hope we came up somewhere in Google for that.
Yeah, and so anyone who's certainly in Northeast England should pay attention because they can come to these events and possibly join the user group, right?
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll be sure to put the links down in the description or wherever they go these days. All right, Richard. Well, that was a lot of great information. I really learned a lot about the user group, and I kind of wish that I was in Northeast England so I could, come check it out. If I am traveling sometime and get up there, maybe I can try to schedule that during one of these events. That would be pretty cool.
Let me know.
Yeah, and thanks so much for coming on the channel and letting us talk.
No problem. Thanks, Clayburn.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.